buses required for the exercise were provided, although the federal government hired 40 buses for the repatriation of the citizens from Khartoum and other cities to Egypt. Only 10 buses were available as of Wednesday morning, while additional 5 buses were provided later in the day. This was happening as the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, claimed that the federal government has been charged $1.2 million for the evacuation of Nigerians out of Sudan. That's our big talking point for this morning on Eagles Outlook. And my guest is joining us today. My guest joining us this morning is Mr. Titus Gado, who is a sociologist and, well, a very concerned Nigerian who is also a public affairs commentator. Is joining us this morning in the conversation. You too can be a big part of the conversation, as we love to have your thoughts in. Keep the numbers close. You're going to need that when we open up the phone lines. 09073530044 and 09087668888. You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages at any point. 09097054450. Mr. Gado, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Mr. Gado, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's a pleasure. I can hear you.
Great to have you join us. Now, you know, the subject of repatriating Nigerians or, you know, evacuating Nigerians from Sudan has been a subject, you know, very big in the minds of Nigerians. Many Nigerians have been trapped there. Over 5,000 Nigerians trapped in Sudan as the conflict continues to escalate in the country, in that country. The federal government has started the evacuation process. About 750 of them were evacuated as of yesterday, as reports from yesterday, later in the evening yesterday. Now, with the way that things are going, it is said that, you know, the process has been slow. The buses hired by the federal government, not all of them, you know, were available at the time of evacuation, and many Nigerians are still trapped there. Now, this is not even to evacuate all of the Nigerians in that country. There's just a few of them who, you know, the federal government can, you know, get to move out of Sudan. $1.2 million has been said to be expended in this exercise. Many Nigerians are not finding it really pleasant to say we're spending that much to evacuate Nigerians. But then some of the Nigerians believe, look, whatever it will cost, so long as Nigerians get out of that, you know, troubled state, should be done. Some others are saying, look, why are we even evacuating Nigerians when it's not like Nigeria is safer than Sudan? The killings also in Nigeria. So what do you make of this entire situation? We know Nigeria is not a war zone. That's the difference. Nigeria is not in a full-blown, you know, war or that level of conflict. But then what do you make of the entire situation? I've heard people say, look, this amount is nothing. It should not even be a problem. There's a war in that country, and the price of getting things done in a war-torn country would be really high. So, well, we should not even place premium or conversations around how much is being spent to evacuate Nigerians. No amount is too much to evacuate Nigerians from any troubled part of the world.
Well, Ian, sure, it's a pleasure for me this morning, and good morning, listeners. The thing is this: we are in a situation where we have always tried to show ourselves to be what we are and who we are as a country, not as individuals. Again, when this issue started, I think the body language of the Nigerian government was not suitable. The government wasn't seeming like it was even willing to do anything at all, especially from various alleged statements from the Nigerian Diaspora Commission. And it points to the fact that we looked at the situation with kid gloves. We didn't want to do the needful, and then here we are. The situation has degenerated, it has escalated beyond the ordinary. And here we are with our citizens trapped in a foreign land, in a war zone, per se. And after back and forth clamor by Nigerians about the Nigerian government having neglected its citizens in a foreign land and to be killed, the federal government seemed to want to take action. It's a pointer that we are not always as conscious as we should be. I know that countries, developed countries like US and America, they have their way of going around these things. In fact, they always try to provide information prior to the happenings, and they do the best they can to evacuate their citizens. But here we are in Nigeria, we have to wait till the last minute, and yet this is even coming on the heels of the pressure by Nigerians. And then we see Nigerians calling the government to act, and hence we have this in place. However, we must also understand the fact that the federal government budgeting $1.2 billion or $1.2 million for the evacuation of Nigerians. I wouldn't want to say it is preposterous because no amount is too much to save the life of Nigerians. We are talking about Nigerians. It could have been you and I in a foreign land that we are waiting for our own government to come to our rescue. Whatever it is that must be done to bring back our own brothers and sisters to our own country must be done. Whether or not the money is too much, well, we are talking about life here, and so these people must be brought back. And besides, we are not talking about just going to move these people. We are talking about processes that need to be followed. I don't know what it will take. I don't know the procedure it will take. But one thing I know is that at some point, the federal government will have to do the leasing and all of that for these people to get their passage. Remember, on various social media platforms from Nigerians who were schooling in that country, they told us that at some point they got the Ethiopian border and they were not allowed to cross. They were told to go back and get a visa. How do you get a visa in such a situation? And more so, these people, they don't seem to want to even allow Nigeria to pass. And besides, how do you get a visa to want to pass in such a situation when the country is at war? It tells you that this amount being budgeted, a whole lot will go down the drain in efforts to try to bring Nigerians back home. Again, one thing we must also talk about is the fact that it shows some level of negligence on the part of the Nigerian government. You are talking about 40 buses having been contacted, and then only 10 were able to make it, and on all of that. And then what does that tell you? Only 10 buses out of 40. How long do we have to wait? I remember reading some time ago that the 72-hour truce has actually been broken by the two warring factions. Now, what now becomes the fate of those who are still hanging? I also remember reading that the Nigerian government was stating that they were moving this rule based on state by state, based on state of origin. How do you do that? You're in an emergency situation and you're still trying to sort state by state. You want to sort these people based on their state of origin. Move these people. Stop talking about moving them based on state of origin. These are processes that will slow down the process of evacuation. And as at yesterday, we have been told that only about 750 people have moved. And then what happens to the 4,250? What is their fate as it stands? What is the certainty that we will be able to move them in totality out of that region? You see, we need to show ourselves as proactive, as people who are proactive, as people who are able to, who place value on the lives of our citizens. It is because we don't even place the value of our own citizens back home, that is what we are beginning to exhibit outside. I am saddened by the fact, I was even more saddened by the fact that I got to know that we were trying to sort them state by state. Who is doing that in the name of God? You are in a war situation, you want your people out, and you want to move these people in badges based on state of origin. Who does that? Would the American government want to do the same? No government will want to do that. But I don't know where we got this idea from. But whatever the case, I think we were slow in doing the needful. But eventually we are doing it, even though a whole lot of issues, even though a whole lot of things are going down the drain. But it is important that we get our people out of that place. Not a single life. We pray and hope that that we pray and hope that they all come back home safely. Nobody went there to study and then get killed. They all went there to study, come back and add value to our society.
Now
But
let's
here
let
we are in a situation like that.
yes. So what the federal government says through the Minister of Foreign Affairs is that the delay, a bit of the delay, was caused because Nigeria was trying to get the warring factions to at least provide, or the government of Sudan to provide a safe corridor to move these Nigerians who are being evacuated from Sudan, and what especially because a French convoy was attacked. Now, something caught my interest reading the Punch's account, the report on the evacuation. It says they spoke with one of the students who were being evacuated, and he mentioned that the rapid support forces are escorting them to the border of Egypt. And that got me wondering, wouldn't this put them at more risk, considering the fact that the clash or the crisis is on between the rapid forces and the armed forces of Sudan, the official armed forces of Sudan? Wouldn't this put those Nigerians at risk?
Well, it definitely will. But again, as it is, what can be done? I want to know how many countries still have their citizens. How many countries are still struggling to get their citizens out? I think for now, ours is even more pronounced because we did not start as we ought to. Pushing this country to one border country, again, remember it is a war zone. And remember, the factions are trying to see how best they can get an edge over the other. We are now trying to pacify them, to say, please, let our people out. And this is the options they are providing. And what they are trying to do, whether we like it or not, maybe this is the best that they can do. And so this is what they are doing. We can only hope that the government will do the needful, the international community will also do the needful, because what was expected to be done was to broker a truce, to say, okay, please give us so hours. Let's move our people. Eventually, even though it is said that that was done, and eventually the truce fell out, now we are at the edge. The life of our people is basically at risk. Their lives are at risk, and we must accept that it is. But this, I believe, is the best option that they are providing. But we must also do the needful. We must adopt every measure. We must go in full force to ensure that we take our people out. If the countries of America and other saner countries will do the same, why didn't we do it earlier? What measures could they have adopted? What can we now do differently to ensure the safe evacuation of these people? It is sometimes we are more negligent because though the ruling class may not have their children there, and if they did, they possibly may have taken them long ago. And here you have children possibly of the ordinary class being in that place, and then they are suffering all of this, taking all the heat. To me, I feel as much as their lives are at risk with every other option, what we are looking at is what is the best option, what is the best alternative. And it is upon the federal government to do the needful. See what it can do, explore every option. And then appropriating $1.2 million, well, I want to believe captures a whole lot of options with this money. This money captures a whole lot of things to ensure that these people are safely evacuated. So it is not just, it will just come on a basic name evacuation. Yes, but I believe it is not too much. Every option that must be explored to ensure that these people are safely evacuated. If it is going through any border, whatever border that we are going to use, let the federal government ensure that some level of diplomatic relationship with whatever country, explore these options, build on it, and ensure that whichever country that we are sending our citizens will have to pass through, let them get their passage. It may be risky.
That brings me to ask. So when Nigerians get riled up every time that the federal government plays the big brother role in Africa, especially with countries like Chad, Niger, Cameroon, the Central African Republic, and the likes, Nigerians get riled up and say, "Oh, why are you spending this much money? Why are you doing this? Why are you sending these monies to these countries and all?" But apparently, looking at the situation, Sudan shares a border with Chad, and Nigeria shares a border with Chad as well. It would have been quite closer to move Nigerians from Chad. And this brings us to say these bilateral relationships that, especially the Buhari administration, had tried to, foster with other countries around Nigeria. Isn't it important that we continue to do this? I recall that last year when it was said that Nigeria bought a few SUVs for Chad. So Nigerians got riled up. It was a big conversation. Isn't it necessary that we create these kinds of bilateral relationships, considering what's going on now in Sudan?
The point is, I don't know the nature of the status of the relationship between Sudan and Chad. I don't know the status of the relationship as it is. And I do not know the nature of the situation at the border line between Chad and Sudan. Because any sane person would think, oh, why go through this route? Why not go through this shorter route? But obviously, for the federal government to want to resort to the Ethiopian, the Egyptian borderline, it's because of certain reasons. Ordinarily, we have always played the big brother role. But in this situation, nobody is looking at the big brother thing or big brother relationship. It is a war. And so they are all out for it. The wanton destruction that we have continued to see on television, on all forms, on all platforms, shows the nature of the aggravation of this war. So, I believe that it is because of the nature of the war at that zone, possibly, that is why we are resorting to the alternative. But ideally, this would have been a safer route. It certainly would have been. So it gets to tell us that when the situation is best known to the federal government, I believe they have their information. I believe they know what is best as to where to follow to get the people out. But again, you cannot preempt the relationship between the current situation between the borderline of Chad and Sudan. It could be fair. It may not be. But whatever the option, we need to get our people out.
Let's talk about the benevolence of Chief Alan Oyema, chairman of Air Peace, who has volunteered his aircraft. He says by Friday he should be sending out 3 jets, including a 777 Boeing, to pick up Nigerians from Egypt free of charge. He's not charging the Nigerian government. He's not charging those who would be flying. Looking at this fact that the cost of running aviation business in this country is something else. The cost of aviation fuel alone, Jet A1, is so alarming. But this Nigerian has, over time, Nigerians in South Africa, he has evacuated them. Nigerians in even in Libya, Nigerians in Ukraine were airlifted by Air Peace at no cost. He's done this over time. What do you think Nigeria can do to compensate such a benevolent Nigerians? I was watching an interview yesterday, and the guest, the presenter of the show, opened the conversation by saying that he had never been given a national honor. And the man says, he's just doing this because he's a Nigerian. It gives him pride to say he's doing something for his country. What do you make of this with other Nigerians who have the means to help Nigerians, especially in troubled times like this, who would rather just sit back? Again, one caller this morning on the show, one engineer Femi, called in earlier today to say, look, Alan Oyema has been doing this, but when we considered people for, the Nigeria Air, we were giving that to Egypt, Ethiopian airline, to own a certain percentage of the Nigeria Air. But then I'm looking at it and saying, look, this is business we're talking about. If Air Peace does not have the money enough to run the Nigeria Air, then why not? Why not? Now, what do you make of the fact that many Nigerians have the means to do this, but would rather just, sit back?
All right. The thing is this. It is in his character to do what he is doing. It is his person. It is who he is that he is showing us. That he can be benevolent to any extent. He can help, and at no cost, it does not affect him. To him, this is who he is. We have so many wealthy people in this country that could actually do this thing that have remained quiet. But here is one man who have always done it over and over again. It is only about evacuating Nigeria. There are situations where he has even sponsored the Nigerian footballers' flights to any country at some point for free, and has even given them added bonus on the goals scored and all of that. This is who he is. There is no award you will give this man that can to any extent measure up to the level of the benevolent or philanthropic gesture. So what we are saying is this: if I wouldn't want to dabble into saying he must be recognized. Yes, it is a thing that any government and any country would do, to recognize the effort of one man who has stood tall even in trying moments. But here he has not been. So I wouldn't want to say the federal government must recognize his efforts. No, this is a man who is doing it for who he is. This is who he is, and totally there is no dispute to that.
Now, what do you say to the fact that we have politicians who have private jets that are lying there, some of them more than 2 private jets, and Nigerians are wallowing, Nigerians are dying in Sudan, but would not also, make the efforts to rescue Nigerians?
These are politicians, and you have said it that they are politicians. Politicians will always be politicians. If it will not add value to his political relevance or to his political quest, he will not win. I want to tell you that if it was during electioneering period, we would have had so many of them sending their jets, sending all manner of things to go and pack people, all in the name of wanting to win cheap political points. Elections are done and dusted, and so everybody is quiet. The politicians have remained politicians as they are, and so you have one man who is not a politician. And in fact, I have heard some person saying that he should contest for position. Some people are even saying that if he was contesting, that is when they will remember his state of origin and all of that. Yes. The greatest sin, the greatest evil he would do to himself would be to contest or to even join politics. Let him remain who he is. Because the Nigerian political terrain, the Nigerian political setup is not for people like him. That is a fact. We are not ready for that. If he comes into politics, we will start digging things that don't even exist. And then just to find a way to label him and paint him black. Politicians will do what they will do just for the sake of politics. And that is why they are nonchalant. So many of them you can pay for anything. So many of them can even go and broker deals. But they will not do it because it does not add value to their political point. So they are quiet. What we are saying is this: we are grateful. Nigerians are grateful. All irrespective of religion, irrespective of tribe or ethnic origin, we are all grateful to this man who have always stood forth and has come to our rescue. Giving him contract to manage Nigerian Air or not, we are grateful for who he is. Giving him national award or not, we are grateful for who he is. And we cannot dispute that. But one thing we must know is that we must not coerce a government that is not ready to recognize individuals who have stood tall for us. We cannot coerce them to do that. If the awards come, it adds to who he is. If it doesn't come, it does not take away who he is. But we are grateful.
All right, the conversation continues here. This is your radio experience you can count on, Eagles 102.3. And this morning we're talking about the evacuation process of Nigerians from Sudan. Sudan has been in conflict over 2 weeks now. Fighting has gone on. There's a ceasefire, 72-hour ceasefire, but we hear that, that ceasefire may have broken down as fighting may continue. Nigerians have been evacuated from that country. As we speak, the federal government is making efforts to evacuate Nigerians, and that we'll talk about NIDCOM and the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission and what it is doing shortly. Keep the conversation going. By the way, keep these numbers close. We're going to open up the phone lines right after this quick pause. 09073530044. That is 09073530044 and 09087668888. 09087668888. You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 09097054450. Don't forget you can watch us live on YouTube and on Facebook at Eagles FM Abuja. Visit our website www.eaglesfm.com and also download the Eagles FM app on your iOS and Play Store. Keep it locked with us on your radio experience you can count on.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
We are already counting down to the 4th International Conference on Communication and Development.
The Institute of Strategic and Development Communication, Nasarawa State University, KEFI, invites you to the 4th Conference on Communication and Development in Africa. Theme: Change Management and Data-Driven Strategic Engagement for Development. Date: 2nd and 3rd May 2023. Venue: Assembly Hall, Nasarawa State University, KEFI. Special guest of honor: Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa. Keynote speaker: Director General, CEO, National Identity Management Commission, NIMSI, Engineer Aliyu Abubakar Aziz, and other dignitaries.
I look forward to welcoming you here in the historic city of Kefi, a place where indeed you will find that it's a micro Nigeria, in the sense that you have people of different ethnic backgrounds, and we have a very, very portable but neat campus that is very serene.
Just hold on, I come bearing good news. In the spirit of the Ramadan and Easter celebrations, Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja brings you a special offer: 50% off all our packages for jingles, live interviews, announcements, productions, and a lot more. Isn't that just amazing? So visit us at www.eaglesfm.com or send us a mail on info@eaglesfm.com to enjoy this promo. For more information, call us on 090-9544-111. That is 090-9544-111. Seize this opportunity to promote your business this festive season.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Thank you for staying with us. You're on to Eagles Outlook on your radio experience you can count on. This morning on Eagles Outlook, we're discussing the evacuation of Nigerians from Sudan. That's in a crisis at the moment, violent crisis, by the way. My guest has been Mr. Titus Hussein Gado, who is a sociologist and public affairs commentator, joining us in the conversation this morning. By the way, you too can be a part of the conversation. Simply send us a message or call 090-7353-0044 and 090-87668888. You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 090-9705-4450. Chooks, I see your message here. Chooks says, greetings to you, Iheanacho. I also salute your guest, the sociologist. I need some explanation. Why are buses and also isn't an airline owner doing free airlift? Okay, you go on to say, one more thing. Maybe your guest can weigh in. The last time it was Ukraine, and we got to hear that a lot of Nigerian students were trapped there. Now it's Sudan, and again, a lot of Nigerian students are trapped there. My question: how do we as a nation control where our students go to study? Chooks, again, thank you very much. Now, you got Chooks' question, Mr. Gado. Did you get his question?
Yes. Yes,
how do you respond? First of all, with his request to understand why it's costing that much to hire buses, not like we're purchasing or buying those buses, and a lot of how do you respond to that? I know I'd given an explanation earlier about why it may cost that much, because they're talking of the minister of foreign affairs is talking about providing security, and also these buses are luxurious buses, really long buses, and they're quite because of the war, things have gotten really expensive, and also I hear that there's fuel scarcity already in Sudan, so this might just be some of the reasons. But I'd love you to respond to his question on why, how do we control where our students go? Can we really control that? Judging by the fact that people would just migrate, whether we like it or not, somehow people would want to go out to study, especially with the state of education in this country.
Yes. The point is we can't really control where students go to study. And as long as we have a bilateral relationship with certain countries, it simply means that it covers the movement of your people to such countries. And that is why, to an extent, you have Nigerians scattered all over the world. You have Nigerians even going to Russia to study. I have a friend who left Nigeria some years ago, and his residence even after he studies is based there. It tells you, even though they are at war, it tells you that such a person has eventually pitched his tent in Russia, and you cannot tell people to stop going to such countries for whatever reason. They may have some sort of pariah relationship with other countries, but as long as they don't have a pariah relationship with us, we are bound to allow our people to go to such countries for study. Again, why some persons may want to go to certain countries for study, maybe because of the kind of courses that they have, the kind of educational setup or system that they have. So it's not just easy for Nigerians to say, don't go to this country, don't go to that country. We have Nigerians going even to the least countries. Sometimes some persons may want to ask. Some time ago, during my NYSC, you have people coming from Benin Republic who went to school, and they went to study certain courses that you want to imagine. Why go to Benin Republic? And they are classed as international students. And then you ask to say, why are they going to Benin Republic of all places to study? But you cannot stop there. It is because you have a relationship. You have Nigerians going to other countries, the least countries that you can imagine. As long as we have a bilateral or diplomatic relationship with them, we are bound to allow our people to go. But the best we can always do is to guide our people. To guide our people when going to such countries. But try to see the best we can.
Tada, some people argue to say if Nigeria's educational sector was quite better, doing better, many Nigerians wouldn't have to leave the country to go study in places like Sudan and Benin Republic.
But again, one thing I must tell you that the trend of people going to study these days is not just about the school; it's about the quest for better life, greener pastures, as they want to call it. They feel that if they go there, they will get. It's just the school is just the usual thing, but they get the opportunity to be working and all of that and earn a living. But again, you also find that the kind of country we have, and as I must tell you, the country that we are in places premium on international certificates than our own indigenous certificates. So if I go to one country outside that does not that cannot even meet up with the Nigerian standard. And as long as I come and then you are seeing it as a certificate from another country, people say, this one is an. So the person is more regarded than some of us who may have done well here locally. That is what we find again. Sometimes these are some of the reasons why some people want to go out. The premium we place on international certificates, the quest for better life outside, and all the needs and all the things that comes with it. But I want to tell you again, is that if our educational system was more developed, was far stable, we wouldn't be having these issues. Many Nigerians who are in other countries in the name of education actually left because of the incessant strike action. And I will tell you, in the course of the last strike action, many Nigerians that I know, some left this country, went to other countries. Imagine the months you have wasted in the name of a strike. You go there, those months you'll be able to cover up. In fact, you get to finish your course in a very shorter the duration that you can imagine. The day you start, you are certain that at this point in time you are going to graduate. Not yet that the day you start, you are waiting on God before you graduate. These are some of the issues that will cause Nigerians to leave.
All right.
But we need to stabilize the system. We need to have a system where we guide our people where to go to study and where not to go to study. We need to place more premium on our own certificate,
All right.
not discriminating.
Okay, let's bring in some callers now. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Paul. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much, and morning to your guest, Mr. Gado.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
You have spoken very well, my friend. A lot of things. Now, a government that is proactive, once you notice that there's a breakout of war in a place, you quickly activate your own bilateral relationship with countries around those countries. All we expected was, first of all, that our president calling Ethiopian president and other neighboring countries to put them on notice that there might be evacuation of Nigerians through their route. So that by the time they start the evacuation or Nigeria move, they will allow them to pass. You can just imagine Ethiopia. Ethiopia that has been given a high share here in Nigeria to do our national carrier is stopping our own people from passing through their borders. And they stop the war that they are not. It's not as if they stop all Africans or they stop other people, but they chose to stop only Nigerians. Those are the questions we are supposed to be asking. If a president, we are proactive, the president is supposed to have activated that relationship, put them on notice. Immediately they saw what was happening in Sudan, because those are the roots. And nothing was done. As he made the call, if he made the call, the president of those countries would have told their own people, the immigration, the foreign affairs, and so on and so forth, that these people have already put us on notice. And as we see, sometimes we'll be thinking that these are the things that will make the African, what do they call, free something business that will not work. Because these are the things. If we are talking of one sky, one movement, it will not work. Because we are discriminating against other countries.
Okay. All right, Paul.
Now, secondly, looking at what is happening here, looking at what is happening in that situation, for Onyema to come up with it, it's like what your speaker said. It is in his own nature to help Nigerians. If he was looking for title, he would have even vied into politics for quite before now, or he would have been lobbying for national recognition. But he just does his thing. Now, my prince, looking at the cost of running a line is very expensive. Whatever it is you are doing, you are paying in dollars, high currency. You understand currencies. When you look at the aviation fuel, it's not a small thing like you said. You have to pay the crew, and then for entering somebody else's place, you have to pay, and you are paying those things in dollars. And you pay all those things, and not minding the rich. Ordinarily, for a plane to fly to any zone, they will first of all assess the risk. That's why they look at the insurance premiums and so on and so forth. You pay for all those things. That's why the cost of flying to those countries that are rich to them is to insurance is very expensive. And now this man has always volunteered to do this work by even taking our footballers to war zone. You go there, risking his own airline and everything to bring these people. Now, the thing is, government needs to do more. Even though the government has waived the spare part import fees and so on and so forth, they are supposed to do more to encourage our own local airlines to grow.
Okay, Paul. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you for your contribution. You've spoken well as a person who works in that area. Thank you so much. Appreciate you calling in. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Nacho, good morning.
Good morning, Sunday the Prince.
Yeah, Nacho, this rented Los Rosbos about fort that Minister of Foreign Affairs told Nigeria that they are using to evacuate the Nigerians in Sudan. Is it from Sudan to Egypt or from Sudan to Nigeria?
From Sudan to Egypt.
By road, driving through those deserts. Are they going to accompany them by security men?
Yes, that's what they say.
That's what they said. Instead of putting the life of Nigerians in risk, is it not better they allow them to remain there and run for safety? After all, it's not the whole of Sudan that is on fire. They can run to another state that are peaceful. Instead of bringing them from the war zone and possible they attack them on the road. How can they convince people with luxury? And look at the huge amount of money. They are setting up committee to go and evacuate people from war zone. Sometimes I ask myself, why are we the giants of Africa? We don't even have an air carrier, Nigerian airline. We don't even have that. As we have Nigerian airline, this thing doesn't need to sit to inaugurate committee. That's immediately part. The airline will go there to evacuate the citizens. This is how other country does theirs. I wonder what amount of money that are projected. What about Air Peace, Onyema, who has been evacuating Nigeria from what zone country in several years? How much has government given to him to at least to compensate him? Brother, well done, keep the job going. When all this, anytime there is crisis, he always